Is yours.
Okay, floor is mine. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you again for having me and to introduce myself. My name is Karen Brooks, and I am the city manager of Coconut Creek. I have been here for a little over 23 years. I came up through the finance department, and up until a year ago, I was the chief financial officer. And then last October 4th, I was promoted to this position of city manager. So in about a week, it will be my 1-year anniversary. And I got to say, what a year it's been. So, so a little bit about the city. Right now, we're at a population of 58,742. We have 409 employees, and we have 142 police employees. I'm going to try to go ahead and share the screen here so you can see what I'll be talking about, and if I'm lucky, it will work. There we go. All right. Can everybody see that?
Very good.
All right. Very good. All right. So October 1 begins our new budget year here in the city, and the commission approved the budget last week, so we're ready to go. Some of the areas, I just wanted to touch upon some of our areas of focus for next year, and go over a couple of budget items. So one of the things that's really important to the city is having an inclusive community engagement process. We believe that's integral to the success of our city. And through a variety of outlets, we're able to engage residents in the decision-making process, and allow residents to provide valuable feedback and input about city services and amenities, and promote fiscal transparency and enhance our responsiveness and effectiveness to our community's needs. During the year, we had begun a vision and strategic planning process that was to involve many parts of our community, including residents and our business community and all interested parties. However, with the COVID crisis that came upon us, we've had to delay that, and we are looking to resume that after the first of the year. So stay tuned for participation opportunities in that regard. Another thing that's been happening in the city relates to fire and dispatch services. I'll start with dispatch services. Some years ago, the county created a regional countywide dispatch service program, and the city of Coconut Creek migrated over to that system. It wasn't long before we realized that we required a much higher level of service for our residents that they were accustomed to prior to going with the county regional system. So since that time, we have really been endeavoring to find a way back to improve our dispatch services. And a few months ago, the City Commission approved an agreement with the City of Coral Springs to receive our police and fire dispatch services through them. And they have a very robust system, very robust training, and we're confident that our level of service regarding fire and police dispatch will improve once we migrate over to there. We're in the process of doing that. It is expected to take about 2 years to get to final implementation on that. Related to that is our fire services. Many of you may know that we have been contracting with the city of Margate for the last 20 years to provide fire protection and EMS services. And while we think and believe they've done a wonderful job and have been a great asset to our community, we have grown as a city over those 20 years. And we were looking to accomplish a few different things by bringing our fire services in-house. And I'll touch upon that in a minute, but how we got there. And one of the things was that the cost containment for our fire contract was going up faster than what our current city budget departments were increasing by. So that was something that we looked at very closely and evaluated whether we would be able to do it better from a financial perspective in-house. And we believe that while we don't think we'll save really a lot of money, the fire and EMS costs continue to go up, we believe that we will be able to contain the costs, but also be responsive to our community needs. We do have a big community in Winmore, and having our own fire department as opposed to a contract with another city will give us the flexibility to be more responsive to our community needs. And we can look at community risk reduction programs that we could implement here that was not going to be able to be done easily through a contract with Margate. In addition, Margate initially was with us in wanting to improve level of dispatch services. In the end, they decided against moving away from the county, and that would have precluded us from being able to move away from the county if we were to stay with them. And dispatch services, particularly with police and fire, but was so important to us and to our residents that it was a factor in the decision-making process. So the commission did authorize, we're in our final year. Next year is our last year of our agreement with Margate. So we did not seek a renewal, and we are currently working on implementing a fire service and EMS protection into our own fire division department that we currently have here. So we're really excited about that. We know how wonderful our police department is and how community oriented it is. We fully expect our fire department, once it's established, to be of that caliber and to provide those kinds of services and really be responsive to our community. So that is in the works. We expect that implementation to take 1 year. We've been working on it. We already own our fire stations. We'll be adding a temporary fire station in the center area of the city behind the Home Depot, so that we will have 3 fire stations in our city. We already own our trucks. We have 2 more on order that were already previously budgeted. So we've been working towards this for some time, and we can't wait to roll it out to our residents. Another factor that we're focusing on next year is unity in our community, along with all of the different major events that have been happening over the last several months with COVID, have also been the environment of social justice and defunding the police department and protests and all of those things. I have to say, we are so fortunate in our community that we don't have that outcry and the issues that other cities are having. We've really have not even had any protests really to mention. And I believe that's because we work really hard, and we have been working hard through the years to have that connection with our community. And because of it, we have a very strong, cohesive community. However, we know that over the last many years, the demographics of our community have been changing. To illustrate, in 1990, our population was about 27,500, and it was 97% white. And in 2018, our population is nearly 60, and our white population is at 75%. So we have really become a diverse city over the years, and I think we've been keeping up with providing services to all of our residents, and we want to continue to do so. So we're working on this unity in our community program. And this is where I need my glasses because I can't read my writing, to ensure that we are continuing to meet the needs of our community. So we are incorporating, we're not looking to do just one activity or one thing and say, hey, we've addressed social issue. We want to social justice. We want to weave it throughout everything that we do and have it incorporated as the fabric of our community and the way we operate. So, part of our unity and our community work program involves the education system, our residents, and our business community, as well as our staff and the way we operate in our city. So we're continuing to work harder in that arena and continuing to build the ties and strength with all populations in our city. As I mentioned before, our fiscal year starts October 1st. Which is tomorrow. So Happy New Year from the city of Coconut Creek. Some of the things I want to touch upon are the budget items. There was no tax rate increase this year or for next year's budget, and the millage rate remains the same at 6.5378. The fire assessment rate for multifamily went up 5% and will be $176.64 for the year. Our water and sewer rates were previously approved to increase by 2.5% effective October 1st. But I do have a little bit of good piece of news when I'm giving you where those increases are, in that one of the things that staff is putting forward to the commission at the next commission meeting is authorization to increase our senior homestead exemption. Currently, we have a senior homestead exemption of $25,000, and we're looking to increase that to $50,000 if you meet the requirements. And in addition to that, there is an additional homestead exemption available to seniors 65 and older who meet certain criteria, where that exemption would pick up anything up to the assessed value of the home. In other words, it's really making it almost tax exempt for those who meet that criteria. So we're putting that forth for the authority for getting the authority from our city commission. And upon that approval, it should take effect with next year's budget year. So stay tuned for that one. And next, let's see if I can. Okay, so some of the hot topics that are going on currently are COVID and the emergency orders. I don't know about all of you, but I can tell you they are confusing, frustrating, continually changing, and just very difficult to keep up with. Again, our community has done such a wonderful job of really trying to comply and successfully complying through all of these last several months. When we ask our community to wear the masks, do the social distancing. I think it took a little while to get some habits formed, but by and large, our community has been so cooperative, and we're looking for that to continue, because by no means are we out of the COVID crisis. And I think for me, I can tell you one of the most frustrating things is we just don't know when it's going to end. Who would have thought, here we are almost at October 1st, and this is still a hot topic, and things that we're continuing to have to deal with. The governor last Friday, and it's amazing, they seem to come down with these orders on Friday nights and make them effective immediately. So we're constantly scrambling to try to communicate to our public what the changes are as the restrictions have been getting loosened. And we're doing our best. And so the governor came down on Friday evening, opening the state up to phase 3, and preempting local governments from having certain restrictions continue. So the county has been evaluating that, in the city's position, and most of the cities at this point now are really following the guidance of the county so that we're all on the same page. Because at the beginning of COVID, cities were doing different rules and nobody could keep up with all, we have 31 cities in Broward County. So if we had 31 different restricting rules, people, I mean, that was just too much. So we continue to follow what the county has put out. They have been evaluating since Friday the impact of the governor's order and what it means to the emergency orders that are currently in effect here in Broward County. And they were supposed to give us something over the weekend and by Monday, but here we are on Wednesday and we still haven't received it. Although I will say I did get an email earlier today from the county administrator's office that a clarifying email will be coming this afternoon. So I know there are a lot of questions and some of them we can answer, some of them we can. I think in the overall picture, where we're at, and really the important thing is to remember is really to continue to wear masks, do the social distancing, and do the hand sanitizing. And I think if we can just remember those three things, that whatever is going on with all of the rules, I think that will be okay. The change that I'm aware of as it relates to Winmore is in the pool area, and wherein multifamily communities aren't going to have to require an attendant be there in the pool. So I think that's one of the changes. However, it's important that equipment continues to be sanitized on a regular basis. And the biggest complaint that our code department receives from Winmore are residents not wearing masks in common areas. And as of today and continuing on until further notice, it is still required. So if you can ensure that and pass that word out to your community, that would be really, really helpful. One change that I think is positive is that team sports don't need to wear masks while engaged in the sport. And this includes double tennis. So I think that might be a positive impact for your community. And then to keep in mind that while the governor said that we cannot cite individuals for violations, that we can still cite businesses for not enforcing that employees and patrons wear masks. So as whatever anyone thinks that the governor came down with on Friday, just saying everything's opened up, it's really not, and that there really are still some restrictions in place, and for now we should really continue to adhere to them. Okay. Another hot topic is charter amendments. There are city charter amendments on the ballot. There are two county charter amendments on the ballot, and I believe there's one state charter amendment on the ballot. And that's in addition to all of the other items that are going to be on that ballot. That ballot's probably got to be about a half-inch thick, I would think, but there's so many items on there. However, as it relates to the charter amendments, which can be confusing because there are city, county, and state ones, I just want to touch base on the city and the county, the city ones and the one county one that will impact us tremendously. So the city had a charter review board made up of residents that poured over our city charter, made recommendations for amendments. They came up with 18 of them. So that is what is on the ballot. There are actually 18 city charter amendments on the ballot. Many of them will directly improve our efficiency and or reduce our costs. So some of them are for clarification. Some of them are from obsolete rules and over cumbersome rules. So we do have on our website explanations for all of the amendments. Out of the 18, there are 6 that will probably need or could use a little further explanation, which is the city did put on the website, and we can have people explain it. We do have a PowerPoint on that if anyone is interested in learning more about that. there is one county amendment that is on the ballot that is very important to us, and that relates to the county overriding city rules as it relates to transportation facilities paid for from surtax dollars, and that they want to be able to put in these facilities on any county property or leased county property. So any property that the county owns or leases, and only follow their rules as it relates to landscaping, the way the building looks, zoning, and so on. So the impact of that could be significant in our city. And we believe that, in home rule, and that it should be our choice to have those rules in place, and that we should be able to decide for ourselves regarding that. So our city, our choice is one of the taglines you'll hear on it, and that is related to that county charter amendment. Okay, and then early voting and ballot drop off. We did try to get ballot drop off boxes for our city facilities, but we're not successful in doing so with the supervisor of elections. They only have a limited number. However, there is a ballot drop off and early voting site at the North Regional Library. So in the end, we feel mission accomplished because at least we have a site within our city for both. Okay. A couple of projects that have been coming up we thought you might be interested in is, the city, for quite some time, there's been a request to have additional lighting along Coconut Creek Parkway. And the city did get to funding that and completing the project. There's 72 pedestrian lights along the way. They are primarily done. They still have a punch list that they have to work out, and they have some, I think they broke some irrigation lines that have to be repaired, and the landscaping has to be restored. So we think maybe it'll take, we're giving them like about another month to get those little things all finished up. But the lights are there and they're working, and we're happy to have that. Then I'm sure many of you are feeling the impacts of our Lyons Road mobility project. Actually, it's really not our project. It is it's a $17 million project being funded and constructed by the Florida Department of Transportation in conjunction. We actually added another $600,000 or so to be able to put in some more lighting and do some other extra things that will make it Coconut Creek standards. However, what I did want to note about this project is that in the next couple of weeks or so, the project will be moving north of the Windmore area. So all of the construction impacts you're having right now, you should see a let up on that in the next couple of weeks. The project does stem from Atlantic Boulevard all the way north to the city border. So it'll take at least another year or so to actually complete the project. So we got that going on. And let's see. We have a new beautiful 7-Eleven replacing an old Yicky gas station down on Coconut Creek Parkway at the southeast corner of Coconut Creek Parkway and Banks Road. And there's a photo of it. So that'll be coming soon. And then the Vista Gardens Ballroom. This is to be located on Hillsborough Boulevard for for those of you who might be longtime residents, you may have known it was formerly the Deanie's site, Deanie's Hideaway site. And so we are so glad that this project just got approved last week. And it was delayed for a long time for a variety of reasons. There was some pushback from the northern parts of the community on its location, but the developers, who happen to be a husband and wife team of this facility, really worked with those communities to get to a compromise that everybody can live with. And we will now be having basically a banquet hall within our city. And when we did the Parks and Rec master plan about a year ago, this was something that from community input was desired by our community, was to be able to have a facility that you can have a few hundred people housed at and be able to have events. So we're looking forward to that one moving along. Then I just wanted to touch upon some upcoming events. We've been really pivoting and adapting in this COVID environment and taking many of our recreational programs virtual. And one of them is a 4-part run, virtual run that you can do at your own leisure, actually, and self-report it. And it's a great way to get some exercise and be able to participate. So I encourage you to do so. We are able to start doing movies in the park again. That was a no-no for a while with COVID. And so we are have upcoming October 16th and 17th at 2 different parks, Nightmare Before Christmas. So if you can get out and you want to get out, please join us for that. We do have a Halloween event coming up. We know that trick-or-treating for the kids is probably going to be very much off limits. We did have to have this event approved by the county, and we did so, and it's basically a drive-in treat. And so it's where kids can get dressed up, they can decorate the cars and come through and basically do a trick-or-treating via car and have it be a contactless event. So if you have any grandkids or kiddies or anything that might be interested, there's another opportunity there. We also have upcoming on November 11th, our Veterans Day ceremony. It is currently being planned as a virtual ceremony. If we are able to also do any parts of it live, we will be seeking to do so. But at this point, it's virtual, and it will be out on our social media, and it will also be shown on YouTube. We have the Creek Stars competition coming up. This is the competition that's very similar to American Idol. There is no age limit, so if you have any good singers, we encourage you to register and participate in that. It's a fun time. It's amazing the talent we have in our city. And then senior center activities are, we've been really, in our community center, been trying to find ways to keep our seniors engaged who are members of the senior center. They're going to start resuming in-person activities on October 12th. And you can see up there some contact information if you're interested. There is a fee if you want to join, but it's a great program, and joy is just a joy. So, hang on, let me back up. Okay, and then we're also starting our farmers market again, and it's going to be the 1st and 3rd Saturdays from November through April, and it's in the parking lot, the same parking lot as last year, which is the township parking lot at the corner of Sample and Lyons. So I'm looking forward to that. So with that, I hope I touched upon some of the things that may be of interest to a variety of your constituents, and I'm here to answer any questions or whatever I can do to help you.
Karen, thank you. At this time, let's bring Mikkie on. And Mikkie, you want to say a few words to Karen? Ed? Mickie's our city commissioner.
Hi, Mikkie.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation.
Sure.
We can always listen and learn some other things from you. I just want to add a couple of things that are important to Winmore.
Okay.
One of them is that I do want to thank Osama, our director of engineering, He's worked very closely with the county, and our blinking light and our crossing lights, now the crossing countdown light is fixed. It's back in operation. So we have that back. Also, there is a phone number or a couple that I want to give you to call if you have a problem with Republic. That's our hauler. They also have a website where you can look up the numbers. But if you're ready, one number is 954-327-9550. There is also a number if you're totally exasperated and need to get somebody. Her name is Joanne Stanley, and her cell phone number is 561-719-8638. So if you have any problems with pickup or non-pickup, don't hesitate to call either one of those numbers. And have a great day.
Karen, thank you so much for your time. And you're always invited if you want to come back, and anytime you want to give us a message, just let us know. We're here every Wednesday between 3 and 4. And we thank you for what you do, and your whole staff is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me, and we are here for you. Please don't hesitate to contact my office and for anything that you may need. So, and everybody have a wonderful day.
I hear a lot of applause in the background, so that's good.
Are we taking questions for Karen, or?
Do we have one?
I do.
Okay.
We got Kia and then Barry.
You mentioned You mentioned a 5K run.
Yes.
What's the date?
So it's a virtual run. So the way that it works is that it starts October 1st and it ends October 31st. And anytime within the month of October that you run a 5K through our registration process, you've done the race. And so you don't even have to do it all in one shot. You can run or you can walk. You can break it up. You can, have people join you. And then that's the first race in a series of 4. Each race gets a little bit longer. So the next month, in the month of November, is another virtual race that's, I'm not sure how long it is, but it's longer than 5K. And then the month of December is another race that is even longer. And then in January, it ends with a half marathon. And so you don't have to do all 4, but if you do all 4, then you get an extra t-shirt, but you get a medal for each race that you complete.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Barry?
Good afternoon. First of all, Ms. Brooks, I want to thank you for such a detailed report and what you're doing with the fire department and EMS and with upgrading the dispatch system. I think that's terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you. My main question, and this may come up to you from Wayne Toby because I've been in touch with him. I was on the steering committee for the Parks and Recreation, and I sent something to Wayne the other day in regards to Coral Springs is putting in 8 pickleball courts, and they're going to try and get national tournaments there. When I was on the Parks Committee, the steering committee, we were discussing over by the city center putting in 8 to 16 lighted pickleball courts because it will be a financial boom for that area if we can get tournaments in there. And I haven't checked the new budget, but I was wondering if anything was addressed in that area this year, or if they plan to do it in the upcoming years.
Right. There is nothing for next year. We are working on a long-term implementation plan to be able to accomplish all of the recommendations that were in the master plan. And so because we're having some significant revenue shortfalls related to COVID and it's a tough year this year, what is in the capital plan for next year is to provide amenities in, I believe it's 2 of the parks, and try to give those parks a wow factor, and then move on from each year after that to do so. And then we have again, we're working on this longer range plan because we know we need to develop Lakeside Park in the north and Oak Trails Park too. So those are going to go into some design and some conceptuals, because we've actually segregated and saved money for the development of those two parks. So, you know, and then a large part of our future that's in the master plan is when the Main Street area gets developed. And so in there, that's where we're looking to put an amphitheater, maybe a sports complex, and so on. But I don't imagine that that would be for a few years.
Okay, as long as I see it's in the plan. Do you know if they put into make the permanent courts at Windmill this coming year?
Let me see. Let me check. Yeah, I know that they had done temporary or converted the tennis courts to, and that they're starting with some tournaments. I heard something about that.
Yeah, I believe they started last week.
Okay. So let's see. I don't know. I don't see that in here, but let me get with Wayne and see what the scoop is, and we can get back to you on that, Barry. Do you have a number I can reach you at, or does Wayne have it?
Oh, Wayne has I sent him an email the other day, so he has my number too, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll follow up on that and get back to you.
Thank you, Karen, so much.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Karen and Barry.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jakia, who's up next?
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We have Miss Lorraine Mayers, who's from our Broward region, South Florida water distribution. I'm sorry?
That's a mouthful right there.
It is. How are you, Miss Lorraine?
Great, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in with us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Let me just reintroduce myself. My name's Lorraine Mayers, and I'm the regional rep for the South Florida Water Management District here in Broward County. Rather than go through a PowerPoint presentation, I want to give you a kind of a general overview of who we are and what we do. Were you able to hear me thus far?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. The South Florida Water Management District, for those of you who may not be aware, it's a regional government agency. We cover 16 counties from the Orlando area, the Kissimmee chain of lakes, all the way down to the Florida Keys. Within those 16 counties, we have about 8.7 million residents, according to our last census polls as to how many residents are within our agency. There are 5 water management districts in the state of Florida. We're the largest and we're the oldest of all 5. Sometimes people would kind of confuse us with the acronym SWIFMUD, which is actually the Southwest Water Management District, but we're South Florida Water Management District. Most of you may have heard about us in the news with several projects going on. Of course, Everglades restoration is one of our major initiatives, perhaps the largest environmental project in the history of the nation. Here in Broward County, a lot of folks get us confused with every body of water. If it's a puddle, if it's a pool, if it's a river, if it's a lake, they think it's all under South Florida Water Management District. So just wanted to briefly give you a quick overview of how that works. We're responsible for the primary canals. There's a 3-tier system. So you've got your primary canals, your secondary canals, and then your tertiary canals. So what that means is we have, for example, in the city of Coconut Creek, the C14, and our canals are always labeled. You'll see a Freddy, the friendly alligator sign on our canals. They're identified that way. So in Coconut Creek, you have the C14, which starts over by the water conservation area. Some of you may have gone down Atlantic Boulevard, over by the Sawgrass Expressway. a lot of folks, especially during the pandemic and being quarantined, would go out there on the levee to ride their bikes or to walk or to watch the sunsets. So that canal starts over in the water conservation area and goes all the way through about 6 different cities here in Broward County: Tamarack, Coconut Creek, Margate, North Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, all the way east. That's our canal, and that's what we're primarily responsible for. From that, you have the secondary system, which are your 298 districts. Some of you may be familiar with that. In the city of Coconut Creek, that would be the Kokomo Water Control District. There are about 21 different water control districts here in Broward County. So in addition to having 31 cities and 21 different secondary drainage districts, another area that I also cover is educational and community outreach. And forgive me if I'm talking real fast, but I'm kind of trying to morph all of this in the short period of time. So what my role here in Broward County, and you know, I've worked with the city of Coconut Creek. As a matter of fact, I think Commissioner Mikkie was on board. She and I go back to some of your Arbor Day events that you had over there at City Hall. Great outreach community events, letting the community know how to be good stewards of the earth, not just with water conservation and native tree giveaways, but I do get involved in community education that way, work with local government. I'm happy to do this Zoom meeting. It's a little different. I wish I were there in person, but circumstances are the way they are. So just kind of give you a kind of a quick overview of what we do and who we are. So getting back to the primary canals, like I said, we're responsible for primarily flood control. These canals were built for flood control. So whenever there's a heavy rain event, a hurricane pending, a tropical storm pending, we would start to lower our canals so that the secondary drainage district canals, they can then either flow into us to help with flood control. And as I mentioned, in the city of Coconut Creek, you have the Kokomo Water Control District. Sometimes we'll get phone calls because people think we're the ones, because it says water management, that we're the ones who they pay their water bills to. And that's not the case. That's your local utilities, as you know. But moving forward, just want to mention also that our mission, and a lot of our information you can find on our website. We have several public meetings that you're all welcome to participate in if you just go to our website, which is www.sfwmd.gov. You can see some of the upcoming public meetings if you wanted to tune in and listen to them. Of course, as the city manager mentioned, a lot of our public meetings are having to be done virtually. But our mission is to safeguard and restore South Florida's water resources and ecosystems, protect our communities from flooding, and meet the region's water needs while connecting with the public and stakeholders. So I wanted to mention that in addition to flood control, which was our primary purpose of the canals, and we're going back some 60 years now with these canals and infrastructures, we have been able to control our flooding levels. Sometimes you may get, with a rain event, localized puddling and pooling in your areas, and that's kind of a natural event. But as far as moving that water from the conservation areas, from the Everglades out to the ocean, out to tide, or down south into Florida Bay, that's one of the ways we, kind of convey our water through the canals for flood protection. Another thing I wanted to mention also is that we do get involved with invasives. A lot of news has been going on about the pythons. That seems to be one of the biggest invasives that we have out there in the Everglades. So we have a python control program in place. Again, and you can go to our website to find out more about that. But that's been one of our bigger challenges in the Everglades with these invasive non-native species that are coming in and just kind of ruining our ecosystem. Another thing I want to mention also is that It's right now with everything that's going on, like I said, I'm not able to come there in person, but Ms. Williams has my contact information. Perhaps later on in the future, I would be more than happy to come in and do a in-person presentation where I can kind of show you some graphics and you can kind of
Lorraine,
see.
this is Bruce Bandler. Can I ask you a favor?
Sure.
Can we do a special show with my lake specialist and yourself? And we can ask you specific questions based on our Winmore environment?
Sure.
Because right now we're running out of time. I could see. You can
Yeah,
go
I know.
on, but this would be a very interesting show if we really like could do it about all waterways, and I'll have our people
Exactly.
contact us. So
Yeah,
you-
and that's why I wanted to kind of, in a quick snapshot, say the 3-tier system, because again, with lakes and HOAs and bodies of water, not everyone is aware of who they really should contact or how it all connects. So,
let's leave it at that, and I'll have
Okay.
Jakia call you, and we'll have a special Zoom, maybe an hour Zoom, where we talk about the Winmore Lakes, and we'll have pictures up there, and you could describe things for us.
well, I can talk about our agency, what we're responsible
We
for.
would love that.
So
All right, thank you so much, and we'll have you back soon.
I'm not used to being cut off, by the way, but I understand if
We're on
it's
time
time.
limit here. I got like other people waiting in Maine.
I know.
Right now, but that's the problem with Zoom is that we're on a time.
I know.
We have a TV schedule now, and people tune in for particular things. And I want you to have your own show.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
doing
Well,
you
thank you.
justice by you. I don't want you to rush. I want you to take your time.
All right. Well, we'll talk about something later on in
And
the
I
future.
didn't want to embarrass you or
Yes,
insult you,
yes.
but
Oh, no.
really.
Hopefully it'll be in person. I really hope
Yes.
it'll be in person. But
Me
thank
too,
you.
me too. Okay, thank you, Lorraine.
Thank
And we'll
you.
get, and Jakia will call you and have a special show with you, and look forward to Jason Ellington and David Rivers. They will be your co-hosts. Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Jakia, who do we have from the great up north?
All right, we have Bill and Judy Frever from Maine. They are currently in Maine right now.
Ogunquit? There he is. There's Santa Claus on the
Hi. Yeah.
Good to
we're
see you
up here in
guys.
Ogunquit.
Are you on on the TV or something? We're getting a lot of feedback from
Yeah,
your side.
we're on the TV as well.
Do you
Can
think
you
you
turn the
could
TV?
yeah, turn the TV down, please?
Yeah, because you're hearing us 5-second delay.
We can do that.
That's good. So tell everybody what time the sun rises up in Maine.
Okay, there we are.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Judy. It's Bruce. First, let everybody know what time the sun rises up in your area in Maine.
Well, it's rising quite late now. We're up to 6:30
Yeah.
in the morning. Normally it's somewhere around 5:15, but it's getting a little later now.
Right. So how are you guys?
So it's about 6:30.
So how are you guys doing up there? Tell
Say
us
again?
about the COVID situation up in Maine right now.
We don't have any. Well, we do. There are about 20 cases a day, and they think that's terrible. We feel, and that's for the whole state of Maine. In our area, we haven't had any at all, and it's been really, very nice to feel safe up here. Most people are wearing masks and social distancing, even on the beaches. So it's been really quite nice, and we felt very secure. We're in a village that's 200 residents, but we have amenities similar to what we have in Winmore. And everybody's being pretty cautious, except for some of the younger people who are inclined to party.
Are you talking about yourself?
No. No, we've been pretty socially isolated. We go for rides in our convertible and go down by the water. We've been out seeing all the fall foliage. It's really beautiful up here now. And but it's been fun. Then we also got to take a peek at the ocean when the hurricane went through, the one that was out in Bermuda. So it's been interesting, let's say.
Do you have plans on
We're
coming
heading
back?
back to
You'll
we'll be heading back to
soon?
Florida just before Thanksgiving.
Oh,
I
good.
mean, just before Halloween. We think.
Well, we hope, because we miss you guys.
Hi, Bill.
Well,
Hi,
thanks.
Judy.
Hi,
It's
hi,
Jackie.
Jackie.
Hi, guys. How are you? You could leave your sweaters up north right now.
Well, hey, we're in the cold north woods
Yeah.
up here.
We got to 38 degrees.
Really? Well, you guys look great. Yeah,
Well, we're having a good time.
good, good. All right. We're looking forward to seeing you guys.
Okay, well, we'll see you in about a month.
All right, great.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good. All right.
Thank you for joining us today. Okay, Jakia, we have Coach Fred Michael who's going to tell us about the playoffs in baseball and some of the local players from this area and what teams they're on and what we should be looking for. So Fred, you have 10 minutes to wrap up the show here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've been humming Take Me Out to the Ball game all day today. The Major League Baseball playoffs did start yesterday with 4 games. There's 8 games today. Our Miami Marlins are in the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. They're on TV right now on ABC. They're losing to the Cubs in the 6th inning, 1-0. Most of you, or a lot of you, know that my background is I was a high school baseball coach in Broward County for 25 years. And also a travel baseball coach. And I'm proud that 6 of my players did move on to the major leagues. One of them is still pitching for the Miami Marlins, Josh Smith. He's on a disabled list for the first round. He broke his finger last week when a ball come back and hit him on his pitching hand. But we were always proud that South Florida has been a hotbed for high school baseball and players going on to play pro ball. Quick story, when I was coaching at Stoneman Douglas High School, I had a freshman phenom, and we played a game down at Miami Westminster Christian, and they had a senior by the name of Alex Rodriguez. So there was about 45 scouts there to see A-Rod play, and my left-handed hitting freshman went 4 for 4, and all of a sudden I had like 40 scouts all over me, wanting to know where this kid came from, and when they found out he was only a freshman, they were really disappointed. He was later drafted after his senior year by the San Francisco Giants, and in 2001 finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year balloting as a starting shortstop for the White Sox. Right now, Broward County has 11 natives, 11 Broward Counties on the playoff rosters. So if you're watching the Marlins-Cubs game right now, probably the most notable name for the Chicago Cubs is all-star first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Anthony's from Parkland. He went to Stoneman Douglas High School. He played there a couple years after I left. He's very involved in the local community in the off-season doing charity work, especially for cancer. He's a cancer survivor himself. The Marlins have 3 players with Broward County ties. Again, Josh Smith, who is from Margate. He actually played his youth baseball right down the street at the Banks Road Sports Complex. Lewis Brinson, who is a platoon outfielder. He's from Coral Springs High School. And relief pitcher, left-handed relief pitcher, Richard Blyer, he went to South Plantation High School. If you watched the Oakland A's game yesterday, Jesus Lizardo, also from Douglas High School, he pitched for the A's yesterday. He did take the loss in their first-round game. Mike Fires is pitching for them today, and Mike's from Deerfield Beach High School. He also played at Nova Southeastern University. The Atlanta Braves are in extra innings today against the Cincinnati Reds. In that game, you got Luke Jackson, a relief pitcher from Calvary Christian, and Tukey Toussaint. He's a relief pitcher from Coral Springs Christian down there on Royal Palm Boulevard. And Cincinnati has outfielder Nick Castellanos. He's from Archbishop McCarthy High School down in Southwest Ranches. 2 other players you'll see in the playoffs, the Minnesota Twins. They're playing right now against the Astros. They have catcher Alex Avila. He's also from McCarthy. And then the San Diego Padres have first baseman Eric Hosmer. He's a 3-time All-Star, and he went to American Heritage High School. So we're proud of our native players, and it's great that we get to see them in the playoffs. There are 5 other Broward County players who did not make the playoff rosters. One of them, J.D. Martinez, is probably the most notable. for the Red Sox, and he's from Cooper City. So as you watch the baseball playoffs over the next week or 2 weeks, you'll be able to notice that we have some Broward County flavor.
Thank you, Fred. Very informative, and we'll be keeping our eyes out. Jackie, I see you on the screen. We have a new show coming on today at 5:30. You want to tell everybody about it and tell them about how you can check the schedule?
Hello.
You're on.
Am I on? Hi. Okay. Yes. Our Residence 201 will feature our grounds maintenance division. They will be speaking to the community just to let you know some information as a resident and how the entire system operates. So that will be aired for the first time at 5:30 this afternoon. We do have a list of ongoing items that run all night, all day for you to watch, whether it's Zumba, Meet the Candidates, the information about the amendments, tea time. So the schedule is posted on Channel 99. I will also send out a blast. It is our Winmore TV guide, so to speak. That way we fill your calendar when you're looking for something to tune into.
Well, you and Henry are doing such a good job on this. You know, most of us are baby boomers. You and Henry are baby zoomers. Okay, enough of that.
Wait,
Henry,
I have to say before we go, I have another really big heat fan in the house. So while Fred was talking, she's like, what about the heat? And I said, go heat. I say in 7, they take it.
there you go. Hopefully, from your mouth to God's ear. Okay,
Oh,
Henry,
yes.
Henry, you want to take us home? Everybody, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Hello has his hand raised.
Yeah.
Hello.
Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man.